Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Be Well, Be Keto. And today I have a super guest, Dr. Anna Cabeca. Dr. Anna Cabeca is an internationally acclaimed menopause and sexual health expert, global speaker, and pioneering promoter of women's health. She is Emory University trained and triple board certified in gynecology and obstetrics, integrative medicine and anti-aging, and regenerative medicine. And she is also the author of a new book called The Hormone Fix. This is a diet and holistic lifestyle program for menopausal women. She has a couple products that I have been big fans of for quite some time that we will talk about in the show, called Mighty Maca and Julva. And she has a special bonus for you guys for pre-ordering her book. You can head on over to bewellbeketo.com to get all the juicy details. And I'm so excited, so let's go say hi to Dr. Anna.
Welcome to the Be Well, Be Keto podcast, where we showcase ordinary people who have achieved extraordinary results. Your host is the high-energy girl, Tracy Gluhite.
Give a woman a fish, feed her for a day. Teach a woman to fish, feed her for a lifetime. Teach a woman to fish, end world hunger. Have you ever wanted to help people improve their health journey? Have you thought about coaching people with a keto lifestyle? Would you like to become an integrative health coach? Well, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, or IIN as we call it, is the largest nutrition school in the country. And in 2011, I graduated from their program and became a health coach. It was completely awesome. We learned over 100 different dietary theories and talk about craziness and confusion. My wish for you is that we can lock arms and create a tribe of health coaches all around the country, all around the world to spread the keto message. If this resonates with you and you would like to look into this option deeper, please go to my blog at highenergygirl.com and click on the link to the right of the homepage. Here you can grab the curriculum guide and see if it inspires you. Since I care so much about my listeners, I negotiated the very best tuition rate for you at IIN. Either you can contact them directly and give them my name, or I will introduce you to a counselor so you can decide if this is a good fit for you and your career goals. Let me know how I can support you in this coaching career opportunity. Have you joined the Facebook group yet? I have a new Facebook group called High Energy Girls, and that is pretty much where I'm hanging out these days, and I would love to have you a part of the group. So head on over to High Energy Girls on Facebook. Good morning, Dr. Anna. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Well, it is great to be here with you, Tracy. Thank you for having me.
Well, I am honored because I've been a fan for years, and I'm super excited to just kind of dig in deep to and have everyone, all the listeners listen to your wonderful story.
Oh, I know. I'm excited too. Thanks for enabling me to get the message out.
Well, it's an awesome message, and I absolutely love your green drink and your Julva cream. So does my husband.
Yay.
TMI, I know, but I don't really care.
That's perfect. Good. No, so many guys, I tell you, I hear from women and their husbands all the time. I remember one of my first clients, she was like, "Oh my God, my husband wants this in gallons for us. We never want to run out." I'm like,
yeah, well, it's an important part of life that, it's one of the 7 dwarfs of menopause, so I feel like I'm jumping ahead. So we'll go back to that. Because I want our listeners to really understand, what wonderful products that you have developed for us women. But why don't you just let the audience know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm triple board certified physician, and I've been in practice for I've had nearly 30, I can't even believe it now, really, nearly 30 years of clinical experience. And one thing that I've discovered is that women are generally confused about our hormones, let alone about what's going on with our body and how to fix it. So, and that's true for me too, honestly, Tracy. So as a woman and a daughter and a mom, and I saw my mom struggle at an early age. We talk about our stories and how important they affect us and shape us for our entire lives. Well, I remember I was 16 and my mom at 52 was undergoing her first heart surgery. And that was really devastating to me. And I recognized at that time how little research, this is back in the early 1980s, and how little research, actually I couldn't find any research that was done on heart disease in women. So that just propelled me to really study and understand, well, what causes this? And to be an advocate for women's health. So that led me into gynecology and obstetrics, my first love. I trained at Emory University. And then I was diagnosed with menopause at age 38. And I remember laying in bed at night, tossing and turning, leg over the covers, leg under the covers, hot, cold, just right, wide awake in the middle of the night, and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be just like my mom, and she just suffered, and that wasn't fair. And I had my children, my 3 daughters at the time, and I was diagnosed with premature menopause, ovarian failure, and I was told I would never be able to have another child. And I was devastated with that. I was at least 80 pounds over. I was over 240 pounds. I was struggling in every way. And I was like a top-notch, world-class physician and hormone expert, right? So this is where I say, Tracy, it takes more than hormones to balance our hormones. And so my journey, I went around the world looking for answers, honestly, and really took a year off, homeschooled my 2 kids that were in elementary school, and went around the world and just kind of learned from healers, not indiscriminately learning and deciphering and discerning what works for me, what didn't work, what would work for my clients. And lo and behold, I became pregnant and delivered Ava Marie when I was 41 years old. Aww. And yes, a miracle child, reversed my menopause. And then, again, hit it at 48. And that's where I really dug into keto and combining keto with my detox and nutrition programs that I'd created from my journey. And that's been just been miraculous for so many women to help with hormone balance, and especially during the transition of hormone irregularities with the menopausal period, which can really last 10 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I was like you with the early, I hit everything early. I'm 53 and I haven't had a period in probably, I'm guessing since 2009-ish. Mm-hmm. So wow. That's a long time,
That's a long time.
So I hit it early too. So you did this whole journey and you found the keto lifestyle and more. Yeah. So what I recognize, because as a physician and working with women health, whenever I tried to put someone on keto, whether it was my epileptic patient, I'm a gynecologist, but I was like, the referral doc. If someone couldn't get someone well, they sent their patient to me. It was just that. So I saw epileptics, I saw MS, autoimmune disease. I saw everyone that, from all different levels of health. And so anytime I tried to put a patient on keto, including myself, like, okay, really restrict carbs, man, I would go what I call keto crazy, Tracy. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but, irritable, angry, like I don't like myself this way. And so what I recognized, because I hit menopause again at 48, so after I'd reversed it for that 9-10 year span, and I was like, okay, the weight after losing 80 pounds, right? The weight gain started coming back on 5, 10, 15, 20. And I was experiencing what my patients would tell me. Tracy, my patients would come in and they'd say, Dr. Anna, I am not doing anything different and I'm gaining weight. And I'm like, yeah, sure you are, right? Sure, you're not doing anything different, right? But it was happening to me, and I was like, shoot, what's going on here? So I'm like, I've got to rewire my metabolism, because if anyone's really struggled, I've struggled all my life with weight. If you struggled with weight, when you start seeing that scale creep up, you're like, oh my God, when will it ever stop, right? You don't know. And so that's when I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make this keto thing work for me, but what's going on? Why am I getting irritable? Why do my patients experience this in the perimenopause, especially? And I recognized that because I was big in detox and functional medicine, that my urine pH would turn acidic. And I'm like, okay, well, let me just really focus on getting my urinary pH alkaline,
then maintain that while I get into ketosis. And then that combination of getting an alkaline urine pH, I call that keto alkaline or KetoGreen, and by adding more greens, and also the lifestyle changes, because it's not just what we eat that affects our body and our hormones, that made a huge difference. So it's like on my urine pH test strips, I created urine pH test strips with ketone pad and a pH test on it. So just one strip, so you don't have to measure a few different ways, but it becomes red and green. So it does feel like Christmas. It's like, oh my God, it's this energetic, just really tremendous experience. And the weight started coming off. So I gained up to 20 pounds right there at that transition time period. And within 6 weeks, I'd lost 18 of those pounds.
Wow.
And so it was a tremendous eye-opening experience. And I did it with feeling good. And we quit our diets. We quit our lifestyle, plans, because we don't feel good, like things that don't make us feel good. So we've got to do things that feel good, and then we make better decisions. I always say willpower is hormonal. It's physiologic. So we have to feel good when we're doing something.
So how long ago was this?
I'm 52 now. So 52, it was just over 5 years ago. Yeah, almost 5 years ago.
Okay.
So was experiencing that. Yeah, it was really a big transition time period. And that was really fascinating to me. And so that's when I started, I initially brought in a test group of my most difficult patients. I'm like, well, let's try this. So I had them get keto alkaline or KetoGreen, called it my Magic Menopause program. And I've since taken thousands of women through that program, making them test their urine and follow my KetoGreen nutrition and lifestyle plan to incorporate both of those aspects. And it's just tremendous, the results we see. The hormone balancing, the energy, the coming off meds, the just feeling and looking better.
That is amazing. So you were keto already. You started gaining some weight back once you started going through menopause again. And then you switched to the KetoGreen way of living. And then the weight shed, you lost 18 pounds in 6 weeks.
No, I wasn't keto yet, because every time I tried to get keto, I couldn't get it. And I was like, I'm just a bitch. I can't do this. So, and that was the thing. So I wasn't. So this is in 2015.
Okay.
So I was like, oh yeah, no, that can't be the way to go. But I didn't incorporate all the alkalinizers and the greens. In the hormonal transition, when our progesterone levels start to decline, that's a huge neuroprotective factor. So I think that's why it's really hard for women in the 40 to 55, 40 to 60 range to really optimize without making sure that we've got that alkalinity component on board. So that was what I recognized. So I started, I was always on my detox diets, my alkalinized, really focused on that, but had healthy amounts of carbs from grains, gluten-free grains and things like that. Quinoa, ate very, very healthy always. And yet the weight creeped up without doing anything different, just like my patients told me, right? Okay. And then I'm like, okay, well, I cannot do this. So let me try keto again. And that's when I noticed I was irritable and agitated. And you can't do that with raising kids. I was a single mom with kids in the house, And I could not do that. And so that's why, got to make it work. And that's where we figured out, well, let me test my urine pH. And because I'd always done that for my patients, I make them test their urinary pH. Well, lo and behold, I was so acidic with a urinary pH of 5 or below. And we know that increases your risk of osteoporosis, metabolic syndrome, heart disease, cancer. We know scientific studies have shown a lower urinary pH, the higher risk for debilitating and chronic diseases. So that was a really important factor. Of course, they don't talk about mental health, but I'm sure I can guarantee you it's in there. I can guarantee you it's in there. So that's when I added the alkaline component. And so then I was doing keto with alkalinity really, really well. And, with the no snacking, with the intermittent fasting and those factors that I put into my book called The Hormone Fix that releases February 26th. Thank you, God. Yes. So really it's my life's work in there, from all the, trials and tribulations and then coming to solutions, because we want to do more than look well. We want to feel well. And that maintains us looking well. So
Right.
it's like the chicken or the egg. And often we think, well, if I just lose this weight, I'll feel better. But oftentimes, I know from working with thousands and thousands of patients, it really doesn't. We can be skinny and have Hashimoto's. We can be skinny and have cancer. We can be skinny and have these things. Your body tells you early with signs. I mean, as easy as checking your urinary pH, as easy as checking blood markers. I go into that in my book. And you can figure this out early and change the trajectory of your health. And not just that, it's like the mental health, the peace. Biblically, it says the peace that surpasses all understanding. And that's an internal calm. That's hormone balance. That's, that goes beyond, beyond the numbers on the scale.
Right. Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so when you started your keto, you added the alkaline. So I know your greens. So for the listeners that don't know, Dr. Anna makes this amazing maca powder and it tastes so good. I've tried so many different green formulas and I always end up taking them once and then giving them to my husband because I can't gag them down. And then when I found hers, I was like, oh my goodness, it is delicious. It's Mighty Maca, right?
Yes, Mighty Maca PLUS. It has over 30 superfoods in it with maca, which is the most, really one of my favorite adaptogenic herbs. It's actually a root in the cruciferous family, very interestingly. It's great for women. Cruciferous vegetables we know are great for breast health. They have sulforaphanes in them. So this maca root grows above 11,000 feet in the Andes and has been known for centuries by the ancient Incans, it's reported, to help them before they go. They would drink it before they go into battle to increase their stamina and energy. And when I was on my healing journey, when I was diagnosed as premature menopause and completely infertile at 38, and let me tell you, I as a gynecologist, as an Emory trained gynecologist and an obstetrician, I went to the best reproductive endocrinologist, and I failed the highest doses of infertility treatments. I mean, my ovaries were dead to this world. And, it was said I would never have another child. And, so it was very fascinating. But in Peru, they say, well, if you're struggling with fertility, have maca. If your baby's not thriving, have maca. If you're tired, have maca. And so it really, and then they would elbow my husband at the time and say, hey, it's the Peruvian Viagra.
You need it too, man.
You need it too, man. And it's one of those things that I was a scientist before medical school. And I was like, well, why, right? Why? And so I looked into the breakdown of it, and it has its own specific proteins called macaines. Pretty cool. It's also high in arginine, which we know increases nitric oxide, which is how Viagra works. And it's got an adaptogenic profile, so it supports the adrenals. But I believe, like resveratrol and quercetin and turmeric, there's a genetic adaptogenic profile. So like whatever our genes are, right? Like, so with us, and we worry about people with ApoE going into a ketogenic diet, but again, there's healthy ways to do it. And using some adaptogenic adaptogens can be beneficial even in those situations. So I think that's really beautiful. And then, of course, I couldn't stand the taste of maca by itself. I was like, okay, well, what else can I add to it that I know is helpful? So hence all the other ingredients, and then really making it taste good. Because I believe that if we have an aversion to something we're drinking, it's really not doing us good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because then you won't drink it.
Right. Or if you're gagging when you drink it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. There's another answer.
So how long have you had this product out?
Oh, since 2009, so almost 10 years now, and it's in over 30 countries. There's specialists from over 15 specialties that recommend Mighty Maca. So it has this versatile combination of ingredients that really can help, like from rheumatoid arthritis to, sports enthusiast. So men, women, children, right? For, definitely gynecologists, family physicians, internists. So we have physicians around the world too that recommend it, which is really exciting to see that. And, I think it's the combination of ingredients. And I really say it's a God-given formula because on my healing journey, I incorporated ingredients that I found in the countries like acerola, mangosteen, turmeric, then with science looking at the extracts of certain powerful superfoods like blueberry extract, green tea extract, to really increase the potency and the combination in a sustainable formula, which makes a difference too. I know for you and for me, for sure.
Yeah. And I my favorite thing is the flavor. I mean, I really love it. So here's a question for you. This is kind of a personal question. So, in the morning, I love my coffee. Now, when do you recommend taking that powder? Like twice a day? Does the acidity in a coffee like kind of negate the maca alkalinity, or how does that work?
I think this is what I recommended. And again, I've tested with now thousands of clients of my own, and then through my online through my Magic Menopause programs. And so what we find that works best for energy throughout the day is to take the Mighty Maca first thing in the morning. Like if you wake up in the morning, sometimes I always recommend hydrating, some good alkaline water first thing in the morning. And especially if you check your urinary pH in the morning and you're acidic, you definitely want to put off that cup of coffee. Let's get alkaline before we, let's work on, getting our body kind of calm and relaxed before we add additional stress onto it, and especially in the form of coffee. So that if you wake up in the morning and your urinary pH is acidic, less than 7, with a urine pH less than 7, and again, I'm very specific to talk about urinary pH, not blood pH, because that doesn't change, right? So, but urinary pH is very specific to our stress levels, to our hormone balance, to inflammation, to food sensitivities, to our diet and nutrition. So there's many factors that affect it. So to just drink either a warm glass of water with lemon juice, but that's when we find that, drink that, then have a shot of Mighty Maca and drink that down. Actually, Tracy, if you haven't done this yet, this is what I call my energy elixir. And it's a scoop of Mighty Maca, a tablespoon of Bragg's apple cider vinegar, a squirt of lemon, or like a half to a teaspoon of lemon juice, and, tap water, regular room temperature water, stir that up, and just about like maybe 4 ounces of water in that combination. You don't need much, and drink that down. That's a super alkalinizing booster in the morning. And so that really does help. It's like nourishment to your body. The ingredients in Mighty Maca PLUS work on the cytokine pathways. So those are the inflammatory pathways. And so that's a great way to kind of like, okay, let me nourish my body first thing. It's like taking a walk in nature is what I call it. But it really is that energizing first step. And then I would wait, at least drink that down if you want your coffee right away. But if you're acidic in the morning, I would say switch to green tea until you get an alkaline morning urine pH. Because again, when we are sleeping, so let me just back up, because why I emphasize the urine pH. Again, science shows that more acidic we are, the higher risk of, chronic inflammatory diseases we have. But the more alkaline we are, the better longevity we have, the more healthy our bones will be, because minerals are required for alkalinity in our body, and it's required for enzymatic reactions, for hormones. So to maintain our blood pH. So if we're stressing our body out and we're not getting enough nutrients and minerals from greens, right? And also if we're under a lot of stress, to maintain our blood pH, we're going to rob the minerals from our body, our bones and our muscles, to maintain that blood pH. So if we have a chronic low urinary pH, we're stressing out all our structure of our body, our physical structure of our body, not to mention everything else that goes on with it, right? All the hormones that are necessary to run it. But we're actually depleting our structure. That's why there's 30-year-olds with osteoporosis. Oh. And that should never happen. Okay. But it makes sense, right?
Yeah,
do you see that?
And then don't cancer cells, I heard that cancer cells prefer an acidic environment.
Yeah, and a high glucose environment, namely, which also leads to a higher acidic environment. Yeah.
My dad has cancer, and his doctor told him it didn't matter what he ate. Mm-hmm. And so, I've been keto for a few years now, and so I was trying to get him to go keto, and his doctor says, oh, no, it doesn't matter if you eat that. So he was doing chemotherapy, and I called him up, I'm like, what are you doing, Dad? He goes, oh, eating cookie and candies. I'm like, Oh my God.
Makes you want to cry. It does make you want to cry. And I'm going to tell you too, Tracy, part of my life story, and this is, gosh, now 13 years ago, my dad was 79 years old. And this is after, I already understood functional medicine and had worked in the field for a while with my detox programs. And he was over visiting, and he was cranky and irritable and stingy. And I'll never forget that, because my dad is one of the most generous people. I'm like, okay, we don't want a stingy grandpa around for my kids, right? And so I was like, Dad, what's going on? He goes, you know what, Anna, I really just don't feel good. And I'm like, I can tell. I was like, do you want me to talk to your doctors? Because his doctors were in Pennsylvania, some of the best, right? University of Pennsylvania trained. He's a Navy World War II veteran, right? So best care. And I loved his doctors. And so I called up his cardiologist. I said, Dad's really struggling. He goes, Anna, your dad's 79. He's lived a good life. And I just wanted to cry at that. And then I got angry. And I said, Dad, are you done living? I hung up the phone. I respectfully thanked my dad's physician. Well, at first I said, do you mind if I intervene at all? And I'll let you know exactly. I want to try to help him, though. And he's like, yeah, of course. And so I'm like, okay, Dad, your doctor said I got free reign with you. Do you want me to? Are you done living? And he's like, no, absolutely not. He goes, I'm 79. I'd like to see 80. I'm like, okay, well, want to see it well, right? He goes, yeah. I say, well, do what I ask you to do for the next 30 days. So seriously, in 30 days, I detoxed him. He went off of so nutritional detox, in other words, but I did take his beer away. I told him, just for 30 days, I got to take your beer away, Dad. So he went down from 120 units of insulin a day to 20. I took him off 3 of his medications. I supplemented him, added testosterone, and worked to make sure. I'm like, Dad, you got to check your urine pH, make sure it's alkaline. And seriously, in 30 days, down from 120 units of insulin to 20 units of insulin, off 3 meds, he came here like via the airport and using the wheelchair, to being out on my tennis court with the kids, incredibly, like beating us all at Sudoku, because we're a competitive family. So we copy the page of Sudoku and race against each other. And so, like beating us at Sudoku and just like happy, laughing, interactive. And he lived to 91. And he lived to 91. Another, like after he was told 79, you've led a good life. Like I could see him in the next 6 months have just really been debilitated if we didn't, thank you, God, to give me the knowledge to intervene and him the will to accept it. And he lived another 12 years, good 12 years. I mean, traveled, flew places, back and forth between me and my brother's homes. And really, so it can happen. We can change that at any age. So no matter what, if a physician, if anyone's listening and they're telling you, oh, it doesn't matter what you eat, that is bullshit. We are totally designed by, nourished. Like, how are we nourishing our body? Not just by what we eat, but how we think and what is possible. And if we can believe that cancer can be reversed, because it can, in so many of us, not all the time, right? But if we can believe it and hold on to that hope, and then right? Faith with action gives results, and then take the steps that are necessary to improve it. So I think getting Keto-Green is essential for anyone who has a diagnosis or at risk of cancer. But let's not wait to get to that point, right? I keep telling myself, can't wait. I'm 52, the same age my mom was undergoing heart bypass surgery. I'm that same age. My hemoglobin A1C is 4.8, which for listeners, anything below really 5.3 is excellent. I mean, mine was 5.6, 5.7 at one time. So reversing the risk of diabetes, which is on all sides of my family. So that makes a difference. Nutrition, lifestyle, and really this Keto-Green approach makes a difference. And I think it's essential. And it's, I would just pray that your father hears this and says, you know what, I can make these differences, because if you do, really, you want to get through, and the research shows, Tracy, not just for us, but the research shows that alkalinizing your body, getting keto, even up to before chemotherapy, you're going to be a better looking chemo patient. You're going to have less side effects from the chemo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I interviewed a kid that had a brain tumor, and he went keto, and the doctor didn't give him hardly any hope. He had glial cell blastoma, and he's thriving now. So I know exactly what you're saying. I wish that more doctors, preached your work and taught people what you teach them. you know?
Yeah.
But I also know that it's, I know that it's mostly the medical schools because all they learn is medicine, which is driven by the pharmaceutical companies. And so I feel like there's just this huge power and money coming from the pharmaceutical companies that are teaching most of the, traditional doctors what they know. And
Well, it's sad. That's sad, but it's true. It's
Yeah.
sad, but it's true. And it's heartbreaking because we as physicians, we put, like I would say that, our peak years of our life, right? And our, 200, like at least 200,000 in medical education, tons of money to heal and help people. And we're given a prescription pad and a knife. And that was my tools for years until I needed to figure it out for myself and for my patients. And so it really is. And sadly, some of, I've heard other physicians say this too, that often we feel like pimps of the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah. And then the magazines are full of the ads for the pharmaceuticals with all of the, all of the warning signs after that. So I'm just so happy that there's doctors like you and other holistic naturopathic type doctors that, preach lifestyle.
Yes. And again, 90%, this is my egotistical doctor. Can I say this, Tracy?
Go for it.
Okay, this is myself. I really believe that 90% of everyone listening, of your health is achievable through lifestyle. It's probably 99.999, 100. Okay, it's probably 100%, but I'm an egotistical doctor. So I'm going to say 90% and then 10% is the tips and tricks that I can give you. But seriously, over 90% of obtaining, it means in your hands. And that's what I'm doing with my book. That's what I'm doing with my online programs, is I am empowering the individual to take back their health, be their own physician, because 90% of it is this. Then give us as physicians, okay, well, here we can tweak this, or here we need to handle this, or this is a crisis situation. This needs to be addressed. But otherwise, 90% is lifestyle. It's really 100%. But like I told you, egotistical, and I want to claim 10% for me.
Well, I hear you. You have a unique way and you're a unique approach. I have never tested my urine pH. And so now I'm going to have to do that because I know about pH and but I never tested it. And so what I want to ask you now is, what is a typical day in your eating? Like, how do you eat? You mentioned intermittent fasting briefly. So what is a typical day for you with your nutrition?
Yeah, well, I'll give you my day yesterday, for instance. Okay. So I start out the day. I get up in the morning. I drink a tall glass of alkaline water. Sometimes I'll put some lemon juice in it, and it's season here. So I've got fresh lemons from my tree in the backyard, Myers lemons. So a little squirt of lemon in there, but I'll also take a swig of apple cider vinegar. I could mix them all together, but I'm pretty lazy that way. So then I'll chug down my Mighty Maca, and I'll read my devotionals and rest, read my devotionals, and then I'll have my cup of coffee. And I typically will put some MCT oil in it, some ghee, like a tablespoon of MCT oil, like less than a teaspoon of ghee. I really think as women, we can overdo the fats, so we got to watch that. But that's the way I'll start my day. Then I'll work out. Today I did 35 minutes of exercise, some high intensity. And then I drank my KetoGreen smoothie. So I have a KetoGreen shake, chocolate shake formula that I just created that's just being released. Otherwise, my keto alkaline. So a 0-gram sugar protein shake to add some good protein. And if I didn't have my shake, I would add like a tablespoon of almond butter, a handful of greens like baby kale, and some chia and flaxseed, really good for hormone balancing, especially in the menopause. We want to add that fiber. So I combine in one little bowl. Again, I try to make things as simple as possible for me and for my clients, but just combine some chia and flax seeds in one bowl. So an easy, quick tablespoon and a tablespoon of MCT oil in my shake. Blend that up with I will add again another scoop of Mighty Maca and blend that up. And that's essentially my breakfast starting the day. And it's typically after a 13-hour, sometimes 15 hours. So I typically range 13 to 15-hour fast. I had company over last night, so we finished dinner at 7. So that's a little late for me. I like to eat at 5. And with time, so it's 10 a.m. now. So I had my shake at around just before 10 a.m.
Okay.
And so try to keep 13 to 15, at least trying for a 15-hour intermittent fast on a regular basis. And then lunch, yesterday, a green salad, and it's like kind of like what's in the fridge kind of green salad. So it was parsley, some baby kale, sliced up some avocado, added slivered almonds and roasted pumpkin seeds that I had, and my quick dressing. So I typically will have lemon juice with olive oil and garlic and salt, and that's all mashed up or blended together. And that's the perfect keto alkaline salad dressing. I'm telling you, it just makes everything so delicious. I put that recipe in my book. And so I may add protein on that, but the nuts could suffice. But yesterday I had a tuna, so a piece of tuna with that. And so that was a quick, easy lunch. And then dinner, light. Yesterday we had friends over. So again, the same big green salad. And we had some baked fish as the dinner. I'm trying to think. And then that was it. That's it. 3 meals, no snacking. Very simple. Very key. And thinking keto alkaline. Healthy protein, healthy fats, lots of greens.
Okay. Do you do any juicing or anything like that to get more greens?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not, because I have Mighty Maca, and so I've not juiced, and because juicers, I'm a blender person versus a juicing, because I always want extra fiber. We don't get enough fiber, so I've been big on that. I've periodically juiced, but I have an omega juicer, which I love to make like as a treat, like frozen banana ice cream or frozen berry sorbet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things like that is typically, so not for me. It just hasn't been part of. If I was really having trouble getting acidic, I think adding green juice shots might be beneficial. But I'm like, I really do believe the fiber's beneficial. And then when we're fasting, we can take time in between without anything. So to really help our digestive systems heal, that can be beneficial. So
yeah, I love fasting. Yesterday I don't think I ate until around 2. So it just gives me more energy the longer I go. And as soon as I eat lunch, I feel tired. It's weird. So yeah. You said you had a new shake that you're just releasing, or it just came out?
Yeah, it's my KetoGreen chocolate shake, 0 grams of sugar. Sorry, I think I said 0 grams of protein before. It's 0 grams of sugar and, 14 grams of protein per scoop. And it's got MCT oil in it, some greens, enzymes, and it's really delicious. Again, everything I do has to be delicious because it's got to be easy for me and my family when we're not making separate meals.
Yeah, and when you said to mix my greens, my maca powder with apple cider vinegar, I'm like, I like the taste of my maca powder. I'm not going to ruin it with apple cider vinegar.
True. I just drink the apple cider vinegar. I just chug that on its own, and then,
out of the bottle.
Honestly, out of the bottle. I have a separate one for keep my own chugging bottle.
Me too. That's why.
Do you do it too?
Oh yeah, just swig it out of the bottle. I have mine. My husband has his. So that's
perfect.
Pretty funny. So, the next thing I wanted to ask you about is your book. So I know you have a book coming out, and what would you like to tell us about it?
Oh, I really am just amazed, honestly, about the feedback that I've gotten from people who have been reading the galley copies. So like some of my colleagues, JJ Virgin wrote the foreword, and she just raves about the book. And David Perlmutter called it the roadmap to fix your hormones. And the list of praise goes on. So Christiane Northrup also endorsed the book. I'm just thrilled. The thing is, it is my life's work, and I've put everything into this to empower the individual to improve their health. Like, I know I'm 52 and I have a 10-year-old and my kids are 10 to 30. And I want to live and see them grow up. I want to know their grandchildren. I mean, seriously, Tracy, to be honest, I don't know, just between you and me, we put up with our kids for our grandkids to enjoy our grandkids. I'm pretty sure of it. No. But, my mom didn't get to do that. And not only did she miss out on them and something she just was the most lovely woman, right? And like so many women that I help, but they missed out on getting to know her.
Aw.
And so wherever we are in life, that's what I want to encourage women, that I wanted to create an affordable solution that you can take care of yourself with, and in a lifestyle approach, and understanding the why and getting the aha moments. I mean, it's a book that you can read. It's an easy read. Really wrote it so that everyone can read it, and also that you can read it again and again and again and get something different that speaks to you at that time in your life. So I feel it's a very empowering book that will change lives. And not only can we do it as we struggle, through the menopause time period, but for our families, for our husbands, for everyone. And the principles in there are just life-changing principles that will improve. And I know, because I've used these principles on thousands of women in my online programs, and they make a difference. So I'm excited about the book. I'm excited about sharing it. I share my story, the ugly and the beautiful. And yeah.
That's awesome. And, to be able to put all of that in a condensed version for people to just, devour is wonderful, because I know that you've done a lot of great things, and now people, just regular people can have access to it.
Yeah, and that's really important to me, because as we were growing up, my mom had access to the top physicians, right, that the insurance covered, right? But if we don't have access to functional medicine physicians, naturopathic physicians, really, and to really understand that this is possible, that's where my book comes in, because we can all afford it, right? And it's not only that, we'll give a link for free bonuses, over $200 in bonuses that go with the purchase of my book. And so just to really empower you, I put in a 10-day Keto-Green detox diet plan for a quick start, and a 21-day plan. So meals, nutrition, recipes, again, trying to, in this book, condense in really practical strategies that make a difference.
Oh, that's perfect. So anybody can get a kickstart. How many times a day do you drink your maca powder?
I drink it at least twice a day. Especially now, because I'm burning the candle at both ends with book launch. So I'll drink 2 to 3 scoops a day, sometimes 4. It's fine, 1 to 2 scoops a day. I find that if we start the day with 1 to 2 scoops, we're not going to hit that 3 p.m. slump, but 3 p.m. is another good time to take it, and sometimes if I'm feeling restless, like if I'm wired in the evening, I'll drink hot tea, like my Mighty Maca PLUS, just stirred in with hot water, and that will be my evening. Just kind of, settle my adrenals. It's time to wind down, especially after a really busy or stressful day.
Oh, perfect idea. That's a good hit for the energy. And then are you going on a book tour or anything?
Well, I think we're going to do some book tours, so I'm not exactly sure yet. My publishing house is Ballantine Penguin Random House, so I know we have some things planned, but I'm not exactly sure on all of that yet. I'll be in New York at the end of February, and so we'll see from there.
Well, I hope you come to California.
Oh, I will be coming to the Silicon Valley Health Institute, Tracy, so that's your way.
Oh my gosh, I'm a member.
There. Oh my gosh, well, I met Susan and she invited me, so I'm excited. We haven't nailed down the dates, but I'll let you know.
Are you going to come and be like the monthly speaker?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Oh, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, that's good, because it's the third Thursday of the month typically.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I'm going to work on that right around book launch. So I'll connect with her and see if we can make that work.
Oh, that would be so awesome. So what advice would you give someone just starting out?
I would just say, first of all, is get in tune, like listen to that small, still voice within us, because often we know what, we know more than we believe, let's say it that way, because often we're told things like, oh, well, you can eat anything, or, there's no hope for you, or there's no cure, or your family's history, medical history of breast cancer, you're definitely going to get, whatever, whatever those outside voices are that have convinced you or swayed you from believing your inner voice that says, I can heal, I can have hope, I can do the next right step, I am strong enough. So listen to that small, still voice, because that is, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. And I want people to know that. Mm-hmm. So, and in my book too, is like the concept of discerning what works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah, that's good. So I agree with the whole mindset thing and the energy work, and if you can believe it. So I'm studying NLP, mm-hmm. and that is really, really interesting, but it does a lot of that whole mindset and how we get stuck in patterns of belief based on past experiences. And so we think that the same thing's going to occur the next time around.
Yes.
You know? So that gives people a lack of hope oftentimes. They won't try new things because they think they're just going to fail at it anyway, so why bother?
Right. Right, exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a great technique and tool to use as well.
And I can't wait to read your book. So it sounds so amazing, and to follow that meal plan and try it. I've got to get my body. I mean, I don't even know if I'm alkaline or acidic. I love greens. So, but I do need to, test that out. I think that's a good place to start. So I'm going to just do you have 5 more minutes that we can do a quick little speed round for you?
Absolutely. Love it.
Okay, cool. What's your favorite recipe?
My favorite recipe is probably my Keto-Green salad recipe, because I just love fresh greens. I love adding, parsley and avocado and healthy oils. And, I think that's that would definitely be my favorite. And honestly, my favorite salad dressing is my lemon, garlic, Himalayan sea salt, olive oil salad dressing. It just makes everything taste so much better.
Okay, I'm going to have to try that one. I usually, I like to put my olive oil and lemon and stuff in the blender so it emulsifies. So that's pretty tasty. How about a favorite quote?
If you believe you can, you can. I love that quote that says, she believed she could, so she did. Yeah. And for me, that's that faith in action. It's not just belief that you can, but you took the steps to do it, right? And so I think that's really important for all of us. Like, I believe I can be the healthiest me ever. I believe that my aches and pains can go away, and do the next right step to do it. She believed she could, so she did.
Well, that's a good example for you. I mean, you're such an amazing woman. It's pretty cool that you just said that. So if that's your mantra, then all of us need to adopt that one.
Thank you.
That's a good one. What about favorite book outside your own?
The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Oh.
Favorite book. Okay. Yeah, because sometimes the journey, like, you can look all around the world. I was saying, I went around the world to learn that everywhere you go, there you are.
Yeah, you can't run from that, right?
No.
Is that a really small book?
Yes, it's a quick, easy read. I've given it to every one of my kids, and I just love that book, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. He's one of my favorite authors too.
Okay, I think I read that a long time ago. What are you most grateful for, Dr. Anna?
I'm most grateful for my family. I am most grateful for my children, and really blessed to have had each and every one of them in my life.
Oh, yeah, that's just like me. My oldest just went back to New York. He lives in Brooklyn, and he's 25, and I had to drop him off yesterday, and I'm so thankful that he calls me every morning between 6:30 and 7.
Oh, I love that.
And it's so awesome. How about your guilty pleasure?
Oh, my guilty pleasure is absolute. I have 3.
Go, let's hear them all.
So, chocolate, dark chocolate. And I always find the research to support my vices. So, dark chocolate, coffee, and red wine. So those are my 3 guilty pleasures.
Oh my gosh, you are talking my language. I live behind a winery. So
nice.
Yeah, I live on a wine trail, but really, truly, I don't know. Have you heard of Dry Farm Wines?
Yes.
So now I'm more into the European, but because I'm a local, I have to support my local wineries. So
of course. I always say, and I think this is really important, like through my research too, resveratrol, which I did put in Mighty Maca PLUS, but, we know that resveratrol from the red from the red wine is an antioxidant and an anti-ager. And I always ask, okay, is it really the red wine, or is it the, group of people that we're sharing a glass of wine with, that we're around the table with, that we're enjoying? That's the oxytocin factor, and that's more powerful than any other antioxidant we can ingest. And so that love and community and enjoying each other and laughing and conversation, all of those things, really, I think that's the elixir.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's the European way, right?
Absolutely.
So, okay, last question. What's your favorite vacation spot?
My favorite vacation spot. Oh my gosh. First thing that came to my head, Tracy, was I was thinking Ubud Valley, and I haven't been there in 10 years, and I was only there once. So, but really the second thing that popped into my head was my own home. It's like when when I can just be here in beautiful springtime and it's just quiet. I mean, I actually love my home. Aww. So anytime. So just to have some nice downtime offline and just be at home.
That's funny that you said that, because one of my friends sent me a quote that said, when people say, go big or go home, they truly underestimate my desire to just go home. Like, truly, that's all I want to do.
I love that.
Yeah, I thought that was funny, because that's like me. I live out in the country on 5 acres, and it's just so beautiful here. And we have a little organic farm, and so it's pretty awesome. If you come to Silicon Valley, then you'll have to come over, and I'll have you over for dinner.
Deal. All right.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Anna, it was a pleasure. Like, I am smiling this whole entire conversation. I'm a huge fan, and I'm so honored that you took time out of your busy day to come on the show today. Well,
thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. And I'm smiling really big as well. I wish you could see me.
Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, well, we'll be in touch. Have a super day, okay?
Thank you, too.
Okay, doctor. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was like such a great chat. I feel so lucky and so blessed and so selfish to be able to talk to these amazing guests and learn so much and be so inspired by all their wonderful wisdom. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you go out and order her book. For the special link, you can head on over to bewellbeketo.com, find her show notes page right there, and grab that special link. Please make sure to share this episode with a friend. And if you have time, we would love it if you'd head on over to iTunes, leave us a rating and review. That way it helps more people find this awesome show and learn about these inspiring guests and their wonderful stories. Thank you so much for listening, and go out and make it an awesome day. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion, and I could be wrong.